Mr.
Chair, I'm primarily concerned with the impact of this legislation on Māori, and I'm sure the issues have been raised to some extent already. We know that in this country there is a bias against Māori in the legal system. We can see that in the research. The research shows that that is the case. At all levels, whether it's even in the youth court judge did say that Māori who appeared before him, young Māori men who appeared before him, tended to receive a harsher sentence, a harsher penalty, than Pākehā who appeared in the court for the same crime. And that was recognised by the judge, and we see that in the research on this issue. So knowing that Māori will suffer from real discrimination by the police and through the court system, despite the efforts to reduce that, we need to consider what will the impact of this legislation be on that level of discrimination. Will it increase it or will it reduce it? And it seems pretty clear to me and to others in this House that the level of discrimination and prejudice against Māori in the legal system will be increased if there is not an entitlement to attend their own criminal trials. We know that Māori are more likely to be stopped by the police, searched by the police, arrested by the police, more likely to be convicted of their crime. The police tend to lay more charges, the research shows, against Māori to ensure that at least one of them will stick. They're more likely to be convicted in the courts and more likely to be imprisoned for the offence that they have been convicted of. Now, this is a serious injustice against a section of our community that cannot be justified. Now, this injustice is borne by that community. It's borne by the whānau, by the excessive and unjustifiable levels of imprisonment, financial deprivation of the whānau and of the children of that whānau, the ongoing social and health issues, the difficulty of prisoners who get out of prison and who try to change their lives of gaining useful employment, for example, or housing, for example, all are affected by imprisonment and by the unjustifiable discrimination of the legal system in that imprisonment. So this proposed law will exacerbate that discrimination and the costs that are borne by that whānau. It means that the accused will not have an absolute right to attend his or her criminal trial. And let's just be aware here, criminal law and its enforcement is the strongest action that the state can take against one of our citizens. It has to be exercised with the greatest possible care, the highest regard for justice, and the highest level of protection of natural justice is of critical importance if citizens are to have faith in the legal system. By further separating the individual from the trial process, the chances of discrimination against that individual are increased. It is much easier to separate yourself from the reality of a person's life and from the process if that person isn't present, if that person is not present and can't look you in the eye, if that person isn't there and you can hear and see and smell and feel the content of their evidence that they may give to the court, that they're there in person with you. It is much easier to ignore the humanness of a person if they are not present with you. We know that that is the case. That's why we're all here, for example. We don't operate in this parliament by audio-visual technological opportunities because we know that it makes a difference to be present. And being present for the purposes of removing or eliminating discrimination is even more important. So for Māori who we know suffer that discrimination, it will only be worse. And the costs of that, again, will be borne by the community and the whānau. The cost to the taxpayer will be increased through the increase of imprisonment because we will see more Māori being convicted and imprisoned as a result of this law change. We will see that, absolutely guarantee it. The costs to the whānau will be increased as more and more of our people are taken out of our communities unjustifiably because the system itself is biased against them and increases its bias structurally increases its bias against them. Those costs are borne by the families and the children. The families and the children bear the cost.
Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr.